Hey everyone, welcome to my channel, The Magical Maven. My name is Heather, and today is a reading for the sign of Leo. So whether it's your sun, moon, Venus, or rising sign, this is a singles love reading for the month of November 2019. However, it is a timeless reading, so if you are drawn to this at a later date, then just look at it for the next upcoming month. So we're going to jump in with the romance angels. So for the sign of Leo, sun, moon, Venus, rising. Express your love, go ahead and make the romantic gesture. Okay, and we have released your ex and keep an open mind. Okay, let's see. One more for Leo. And honeymoon. Okay, so there could be a couple different situations coming through. Okay, so for some of you, it's with express your love. It's about kind of getting out there and being more open to other possibilities and options and taking that next step. So maybe if you feel like, you know, there's someone you're interested in, but you're not putting yourself out there, and it could be because of this ex-partner. And with the keep the open mind, it's because maybe you could be looking back to this past person and putting them on a pedestal, and then this person you're feeling isn't measuring up. Maybe they're not your usual type, or maybe it's just that even if they are someone you would normally like or gravitate towards, maybe it's just you're still in this energy of this ex energy, and it's keeping you from a clear head and a clear mind, and also a clean spirit. So you have to maybe do some energy clearing, some cord pulling, because you could still be stuck in this energy and harboring resentment even. And I'm getting about, for some of you, it's like about it's okay to like move forward, or it's okay to express your love. So maybe you are guarded from a past person, and you know, it's like keeping you from trusting and opening up because you don't want it to fail like before. And maybe it's like with this honeymoon, it's maybe things started off really great with this person, this past person, and it was like everything you wanted, and then it just, the ship sank. And it's funny because there's a boat in this card, and then you're like, okay, well that went that. So for some of you, it could be that, in the sense of you don't want to go back down that road because you feel like, okay, well, if I did like this person, or I didn't fall for this person, it's going to be the same thing, or I don't want to go through that again. So that's one thing coming through. For some of you, it could be someone that is an ex, you know, whether they were actually in a relationship or dating, and maybe there's someone that you do wish to rekindle the flame with, but you need to express that, you know, you need to go ahead and, like with a romantic gesture, you have to kind of maybe make that first move. And because maybe you haven't let go of them, but it's like you feel like it's not going to be a win-win outcome, but you still can't let go of them. So it's like this thing like, okay, well, maybe you should just go ahead and reach out because you haven't let go of them. And maybe that's, you know, you're remembering the time you were happy together, or you were in love with them, or things were going well. And maybe that's what you're starting to move past what you saw was negative or didn't work, and you're looking at the positive. So again, it's not to say like, you know, you should go back to someone if things were, you know, because sometimes we could always do that later on. We, you know, like someone could think about, oh, like all the good times, but then the reality is like, oh, this person, you know, like was toxic, or, you know, we weren't, you know, wasn't healthy for me. So I'm not saying to go back to someone like that. I'm saying like, if there is someone that, you know, other things got in the way where maybe you could have had something with this person, and now you're finally looking at the positive and you haven't let them go, and maybe that's like, okay, maybe it's a time, you know, to try to see what's there. Okay, so we're going to go to the Lover's Oracle next. So for the sign of Leo, Sun, Moon, Venus, Rising. Okay, so one card that fell on the floor was Power. You instinctively know what is right for you, and you have the power to say no or to walk away at any time. So this clarifies for those of you who need to clear from an ex, knowing to walk away. For those of you who can't let go of someone from the past, that you know this person is right for you, you know the power is in your hands, and you have to make the next step. You have to make the move. So take it how it resonates for your situation. And it's funny too, because like with the sign of Leo, sometimes Leos could be known for their pride. So with the Power, just make sure that you're not using that and abusing that in like a wrongful manner. It's like, let your pride and ego, put it aside if it is someone from the past that you do want to express your love to. Because if you're in a state of ego or pride, when you talk about energy and vibrations, fear and love are opposite vibrations. Well, where do you think pride and ego are? At the lower vibration. So you have to kind of step out of that too. Like if you are wanting to make that gesture. Again, if there's someone from your past that is someone you need to release that was, toxic or unhealthy or whatever reason it didn't work out, and they're not right for you, it's like you might have to just, take back your power and know that it's time to walk away. And maybe you're not wanting to accept defeat, because again, that pride thing, like maybe you're like, no, like, it's like you don't want to say goodbye because maybe you feel like you're failing. But I mean, it's nothing to feel shame in, if something didn't work out, because I'm sure there's something you could take from that relationship that benefits you, even if that's a lesson, it's helping you, get to the root cause of a wound that you need to heal to get to your person, or get back to a person. So, okay. So one thing that also came through was time. You're trying too hard, give it time. So, okay, so some of you could be putting on a show, wearing a mask, and this came through the Taurus too. So you might be trying to act like, you're ahead of the game, meaning that you're over things, and you're not. And you're kind of, again, maybe this is where it's like you need to allow yourself that time and know that, oh no, this isn't normal. It's like, and kind of stepping out of that pride of being like, oh no, I don't care, I've moved on, I'm past this. Because if you're telling yourself that, then you are lying to yourself and you're not doing yourself any favors. So let me see another card for Leo. Ooh, okay. Sometimes they just want to fly out. Okay. So one thing that came up was reflection. Give each other some space at the moment. Trust and have faith that all will work out for the best. So this is maybe where you need to reflect. If this does resonate for you, like there's an ex you need to let go of, maybe you need to reflect why they were in your life, why you were attracted to them, where it went wrong, so to speak. Because chances are it probably didn't go wrong. It was probably just for a reason, for a lesson. And, it just was time to move on. But what can you take away from that? And then again, if this is someone from your past you can't let go of, maybe you being more in a reflective mode. And I'm not saying that, for you to be, but you might already be in that state or going to be in that state when you start reflecting and looking back on where you feel you could have went wrong or where both of you went wrong together. But I'm getting that some of you could be putting pressure on yourself, meaning realizing the errors you made. And that could be where you're not wanting to reach out or express because you're like, oh, I kind of see what I did here or what went wrong, where I had a part in this. Okay. We also have, it's important right now to take a step back and spend some time alone. Instead of placing your focus on another, now is the time to give to yourself. So this is maybe, again, that reflection that makes sense. You have some reflection to do to kind of figure out if this is someone you need to move on from, what can you do to move on in a healthy manner, or if this is someone that you want to return to, like kind of considering, you know, like thinking things over first, because I think maybe you're not prepared or ready yet. And again, it could be because you have to let that wall come down, you have to let that pride come down. And I'm getting about not forcing things. So maybe like if you were to step in now, you might come across too forceful, aggressive, or harsh. And not to say that you will, but maybe you're not in the state to like come right now. Okay, so let's see what else we have. Some fell around. We have embrace. Through each other, you find the missing pieces. Okay, so this could be where this past person, you know, you're wanting to come back with them. You know, maybe they're your other half. And, or maybe this, you know, even if it didn't work out with them, it could be a chance for closure to kind of heal the wound, you know, like with this hug, like kind of coming together to complete a cycle. So, which, you know, is positive because, I mean, in a sense of because then that could help you move on to a future person. Or again, this could be someone, if you're going back to a past person, this could be like, okay, this could be your time to rekindle things. Again, it's going to be different for everyone. And then there's one that fell on the floor. Okay, so we have soulmate. Your soulmate is already with you in spirit. Believe this and they will manifest physically. So whether this is someone from your past or this is someone in the future, it's like you do have someone out there for you. So you don't have to worry. So either situation, either if you're clearing someone from the past, know that someone is out there for you, or if you're trying to return to someone, whether it's them or someone else, you know, it's like, let your guard down pretty much. Okay, so now we're gonna look at the heal yourself to kind of see where your blocks are, what healing you need to do for my sign of Leo, Sun, Moon, Venus, Rising. Okay, so we have temptation. We have inner child, and we have rejection. Okay, so some of you are nursing some wounds from childhood. So abandonment issues, feeling rejected, feeling left out in the cold. So, because like, look at her face in this, in the inner child. So, because with the rejection, yeah. So some of you have to get past those wounds. And maybe that's why you know, if there is someone you want to reach out to, you don't want to because you don't want to get your feelings hurt. You don't want to risk, you know, someone telling you no, or I'm not interested, because you feel like it's going to break you. But it's really something, this is something you have to deal with. You know, it's like a wound from childhood. So for, you know, look at your parents, look at their, you know, relationship or marriage, you know, look at them individually and their romantic choices, what your relationship is like with both of them, you know, because, and you should be able to figure out like where this is coming from. And, you know, some of it could too be like, you know, maybe, because we do take a lot on from parents or from our family, our ancestral wounds, even you know, it's like even if we're not conscious or aware of it, we take on that stuff. So kind of recognizing, okay, where did this come from? But for some of you too, it could be like from early on, like when you were dating or in relationships, like, you know, young loves, there could have been a rejection there too. Or even as a kid, like if you felt left out of things, like, you know, like getting picked, you know, like for things or with friends, like it could just be like, in general, there could be like this feeling that you don't fit in. But I want to remind you, like, there's that quote about if you don't feel like you fit in this world, it's because you were meant to create a new world, you know? And so, you know, don't feel like if you don't feel you fit in, like, that's not a negative thing. You know, it's like, you know, we should honor our differences and how we're all unique, you know, our uniqueness is beautiful. Okay. And then with the temptation, some of you could be like wanting to sow your oats with another, you know, meaning that maybe instead of like dealing with the healing, you could be trying to go out there to, you know, like hook up with someone else, you know, whether that's just in a sexual way or that's also, you know, sexual and leads to a relationship. But you could be tempted to maybe like fill the void. Because I was getting more sow your oats. So I'm definitely getting more of like the energy of like, you know, sexuality, but not necessarily sexuality as in necessarily that, you know, it's coming from a place of lust and desire and passion in that way, but a place of like, of needing, like neediness in a sense. And I'm not trying to, you know, say anything, but it could be like, oh, you know, you're filling that void, you know, with sex, but, you know, not because you're like, you know, not to say you're not a sexual person, but I'm saying like it could be because you're tempted to do that as a way to seek validation and love. Okay. So yeah, really think about your inner child wounds, you know, where you're tempted in life, where, you know, which isn't for your best interest, where you feel rejected, where you feel like you don't fit, where you feel like you've been abandoned, left out in the cold. And I know, you know, this isn't easy work, but it's going to benefit you in the long run. Okay, so from the Black Moon astrology cards, North Node, life's purpose. So if you don't know about the moon's nodes, we have a South Node and a North Node. So your South Node is your soul's pattern, where you've been, and your North Node is your soul's potential, you know, like your North Star. So this is showing like where, so you might want to even look into your chart to see what your North Node is and your South Node. Your South and North Node will be opposites because we each have an opposite sign. So like, for example, you as a Leo, whether this is your Sun, Moon, Venus, Rising, the opposite sign of Leo is Aquarius. So, you know, I mean, some of you could even have your North Node in Leo. So you might want to check that out just to kind of see your soul's potential and what you should kind of strive for in this life. But definitely this could be part of your journey, might, with these core issues that were coming up regarding your inner child work, there could be something there that like helps kind of clear some karma for you, like on a soul level. It also could maybe help you do something with your life's work in the future. So, because, you know, anything that, like anyone who's like a healer or a light worker, you know, a purpose that involves other people, it's all because we have things that, you know, through our dark times, through our own healing process, we come to that, you know. So definitely there could be something through your own life that, you know, you're meant to give wings to, you're meant to give life to, and it's through those experiences, those painful, harsh experiences. So don't see this as a curse, see this as a blessing, because this is something that you could help people through your own wounds, like the wounded healer. Okay, 6th house, routine. So this is a house of work, of health, of routine. Okay, I'm getting something about like the mundane. So maybe some of you are worried about like living a mundane life, or you feel like you're stuck in a rut, like your routine. Maybe some of you don't feel completely fulfilled in your work life, and maybe that's where this life's purpose is coming in, because you're being called to something greater and deeper, and that's maybe where that lack of fulfillment is coming. And maybe that's why, you know, you need to sort that out first before someone can come in a love relationship. And for some of you, might not just be seeing it yet. One more card. Okay, so we have 4th house, roots, and Grand Trine, blessings. So definitely it's showing a firm foundation in the future, you know, being blessed with this harmony of like the home, having these roots, with a potential, you know, like a love in the future. But it's like you have to plant the seeds first. Okay. Now we're going to look at the archetype cards. So I'm going to pull an archetype for you as the viewer watching. Sun, Moon, Venus, Rising, and Leo. Detective. Oh my, it's funny. Look how she's looking out of the book with this like the little hole. And I mean, I'm getting that like you're wary of others. You're very like discerning of others. Maybe you don't trust. And it could be from past, you know, partners or a past partner. You know, you aren't trusting because of what had happened. So now you are like this detective. So you could be someone that like spies, or, you know, it's like you could even be looking for things that aren't there, you know, because you're just like, I am not, you know, it's like you become this maybe expert detective because you've had to with a partner you didn't trust in the past. So now you have this like eye on anybody you have any interest in because you're just like ready to sniff them out, you know, like a police dog. And that's not to say like, it's funny because it says great powers of observation and intuition desire to seek out the truth, the light attribute. So sometimes when something, you know, what we think is in our intuition or gut feeling could be that, or sometimes it could be that fear kicking in. Because if you did deal with a partner you couldn't trust before, in the future, there could be something that triggers you, and then you could maybe think it's your intuition when really it was just being triggered because of this past partnership. So it's like you have to let your guard down. You can't just assume that everybody is going to be untrustworthy. You know, it's like, because if you have this energy of like, I don't know, like it's definitely going to not be attractive to others, because then it's going to seem like something's wrong with you, even if, you know, it was like, you know, exes that you were involved with. It's like definitely like that person you could be dating in the future, if you're going back to someone and you're acting like this, they're going to be like thinking that you're the one that's, you know, something's wrong with you. So I hope that makes sense. But okay, so I'm getting something about a windfall of good energy. So I think good things are on its way to you, even if it's not in the realm of love and romance. I am getting one windfall, and I heard that for someone else too. I don't remember which sign it was at this point though. But again, like maybe that's, you know, like I said, check out your Sun, Moon, Venus, Rising, because, you know, you could put it all together, or maybe one of, you know, your other placements might resonate more for you, you know, just for these videos. So if there is someone from the past that you wish to express your love to, let's see about them. Okay, so we have Gambler and Child Orphan. So someone from your past, you know, you might see them as a wild card. Like they're a gambler, they're a risk taker. You know, you're like, you might be like off put by them, or maybe you could even feel intimidated by them because you're like, wow, they have so much bravado and confidence and self-worth, and they just like put themselves out there and they just like go for what they want and they take chances. And why can't I be that brave and that secure? And not to say you don't, but you might see them as being like, you know, like, and you could also see them as lucky, because I'm here like seeing like the like, you know, at Vegas, like the, what's it, craps, yeah, like rolling the dice. So maybe like, you know, you feel like they could even be really lucky, you know, that they just seem to like amount to a lot, or they like attract so much because of their good energy. And maybe like you just feel like, I'm getting for some of you, don't know if you are willing to follow them down the rabbit hole. Maybe it makes you scared for whatever reason. Oh, maybe it's because you feel like taking that leap of faith is a big risk because there's something to lose. Because of course, if there's someone that you really connect with, that you really love, of course there's always that risk of losing them or something happening. So definitely, like, you might be feeling like this is a huge risk for you because to put it out there with them. And with Child Orphan, Okay, so we're going back to the inner child issues. So I'm getting this actually might be more your energy of maybe where you felt left out as a child. So not to say that you know, I mean, some of you could have been an orphan, you know, for whatever reason, or you know, maybe you had, you know, a parent or parents who were neglectful in some way, or maybe you felt you had to, you know, raise yourself, or, you know, there was things you had to learn on your own that, you know, a parent didn't teach you. And because it says independence based on learning to go it alone, conquering fear of surviving. So definitely, like, you know, whatever your situation is, I mean, again, this doesn't have to be an orphan. Like, for example, for me, like, I could resonate with this card because, like, as a kid, my mom passed when I was young, and so like after I became really independent. So like, you know, so that's just one example of, you know, how I possibly could resonate with this card. But, you know, just to kind of give an example. So, I mean, because you could have even had both your parents there, you know, together and, you know, married, but for whatever reason, maybe you didn't feel you got support. So again, take what resonates for you. But I think it's more, this is about your inner child wounds. And then this is maybe why you're not going for this gambler person, because you're feeling it's a huge risk to yourself and your security. And because with your root chakra, that deals with security and stability, survival mode instincts, and fear blocks it. So, and it's interesting because, well, I guess this is kind of like a red-orange, but, you know, this is maybe where you're like, no, you know, it's like that fight versus flight. You know, you're not willing to fight or go for what you want. You know, it's like you're more in flight mode because it's like a survival thing where you feel like you don't want to lose. And it's funny because, again, with gambling, with, you know, whether win or lose, and maybe you feel like you might come out the loser in that situation. And again, I'm not saying that, you know, you are or would. It's just maybe that's how I'm getting, that's what you're feeling or could happen. So we're going to look at the Gilded Tarot. Oh my God, this video is going longer than I think the other signs. So I'm going to try. If you check out my other videos, I always go on and on and on. I have so many decks and I try to use them. And then once I start talking and I'm getting, you know, I'm channeling information and I just keep talking. So I'm going to try to wrap this up. Okay, so for my Leo, Sun, Moon, Venus, Rising, any messages, love? Okay, well, that was a lot. Okay, well, we're going to take them, though, because it's very interesting that we have the Queen of Cups, the Knight of Cups, the Eight of Wands, the King of Cups, and the Empress. So of the court cards, we have 3 out of 4 of the cups. We have the Queen, the Knight, and the King. So you have this like partnership here that's emotionally fulfilling. That's, you know, there's love. And it's like approaching, and like with this Empress. So definitely this person, if there is a person from the past that you've actually been wanting to express your love towards, it's actually showing like a very beautiful love. And things could, like, I mean, with the Eight of Wands, that's like a fast moving energy. I mean, again, this depends what you're going to do about things, but maybe to get the ball rolling, maybe it's not going to be as difficult as you think, you know, because if there is this emotions, this love behind it, maybe once it gets off the ground, things are going to, you know, flow pretty quickly. And again, that could be maybe where maybe some of your fear is coming in, because maybe you know that, and maybe you're like, oh, I'm not ready, I have some work to do. And obviously, like with these readings tonight, a lot of inner healing work is needed. And you know, and again, like that's what's coming through. And then also, as a, you know, I always consider myself the healer first and then a reader. You know, I always, like, I don't consider doing card readings like fortune telling and I'm going to map out your future, because we all have free will. And I feel it's important to give you guidance of how to navigate, you know, to move forward, to live your best life and be the best version of yourself, and to be happy and fulfilled and complete within, before you could be complete and happy with someone else in a love relationship. So, and I know that's not what everyone always wants to hear, but actually you do have beautiful cards that show that this could be something that does move forward for you in a beautiful way. Okay, and then for those of you who are just leaving an ex behind, And for future, like if there was someone else coming into the picture. Okay, so, I mean, because remember at the very beginning of the reading, I said for some of you, it could be like about keeping open mind if you're trying to move towards an ex and there isn't a past person. But again, I'm getting a lot of you, this is more about a past person. So if this doesn't resonate, this reading might not be for you. But because then I asked about like someone else, and I got sun, I got gravitational pull. So I do really feel it's someone that you already know of, that you're pulled towards. And this high priestess, you already know. You know your connection, you know you're bonded, you know it's there. And it's just, are you going to confront it? And I'm going to do one last romance angel cards, and then I am closing up this video. Okay. Okay. So one card came out, and then I was shuffling. So anyways, you're getting two cards based on what I, feel. You have passion and codependency. So allow your heart and soul to sing with joy. Codependency, addictions are affecting your romantic life. So it's like this person maybe is, the one that ignites your passion, but it's again, like maybe there's still these wounds that you have to face up to regarding codependency. I'm getting like self-worth again, going back to the inner child work that we talked about. So you have to kind of do this before you can make this offer, before you can move forward, because you might be feeling really passionate and that's what you're wanting. You're just wanting the love, but it's like you have to take the steps to get there first. Because if you just go towards them, with this passion, with this fire that you have for them, and then you didn't do your work, it's just not, it's just going to be that, it's going to be passionate, and it's, it could be work out for temporarily, but then it's going to go back to the same issues. So before you dive in, you have to kind of get become a master on these core wounds. Oh, okay, that's something too with this child orphan. Okay, so for some of you, this person could be the opposite of you. They could have been the one that's really more independent, and then you're the one that has the codependency issues. So maybe that's something too that you see as like intimidating, because you feel like they're just out there living their life, they're independent, they don't necessarily need to be with someone. And then you could be the one that's like, I don't know, worried that like, oh, they're without you, and that like, that they don't need it because they're independent. And you're like, and maybe that's something that so I'm getting that's something that's coming through too, that this could be them, and that they're really independent, and that you suffer with these codependency issues, and maybe that's where things won't work out unless you do that work. Or maybe this is just me telling you this, and then that because you're like, oh, you're feeling that passion, that love, but you're just going back to your same core issues. So just something for you to think about. But that is today's reading. So if you liked this, if it resonated, feel free to like, share, comment, subscribe to my channel. And I have other videos as well. Like I said, check out your sun, moon, Venus, and rising. So love and light to you all. Bye.